Alright, I'm Nick Hawthorne and welcome back to the channel. Today we have an interview with the act that I've known in a different form for a few years, and I've just kind of returned this year and absolutely smashed it. I've one of my favourite songs of the year in Heartless, but also a few like I just absolutely bopped. I think everything that they've released has been amazing, and it's been really nice to talk to them again. I'm talking to Badmind. We talk about their kind of the former project SoShe and how that ended and how they've kind of started doing new things. All the music they've released this year, their newest single Addicted, the new single that they're going to be putting out, 100 Roses, and so much more. So let's get into it. So I'm joined by Jamie and Dana from Badmind. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So you have kind of recently released the new single Addicted. How's that? What's it about? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it came out on last Friday. Yeah, it's kind of like a more like a very different to what we've already released. More of like a slow bluesy kind of soul kind of vibe, which is kind of probably not expected considering like the other ones that we've released.
Like a 6/8,
like a 6/8 kind of vibe. But yeah, I think that one's my favorite one so far. But you?
What's it about?
What's it about? It's about being addicted.
It's about being a better man.
No, it's kind of like a love song, but kind of like maybe a bit of an unhealthy kind of vibe.
You seem to get like almost embarrassed when you asked that question, Dana, because I remember like it came up on the podcast as well, I'm sure, when you were kind of breaking it down and stuff, and you were like kind of refusing to kind of really directly say what it was about.
It's probably like what's the word? Like a sensual song. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I did say that.
Like, yeah, it's more like a
sexual almost.
Yeah,
like the words you use and stuff.
Yeah, but it's like done in a way that's kind of like suggestive, rather than like this is exactly what I'm talking about sort of thing.
It's just a cool, it's cool like songwriting experiment almost. Like a lot of our songs aren't from personal experience. Like, yeah, they're not. We're not sipping daiquiris on a beach somewhere.
I sip on daiquiris on a beach somewhere.
For damn sure.
I wish we were.
One day.
One day maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a cool way of like if you don't have that many personal experiences, you kind of limited what you can write about. So like we kind of like the idea of making up stories. It's kind of just, you know what I mean?
Or like taking things from like other people's experience, or like sometimes like I'll hear like a line of like what someone said and it kind of makes like a story in my mind, if that makes sense, and it kind of like goes off that. That's what Heartless, when the drink hits my lips. I remember I was watching an episode of do you know Melissa and Joey?
No. Oh yes, I do.
Do you? Yeah.
Sabrina,
yeah,
rich woman,
obviously. And in one of the episodes, she said, I love when this wine hits my lips, or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, I love that.
Glad I could help.
You tend to write from, like, it's weird because, like, Dana tends to write from, the story evolves from the first line.
Yeah.
Like, a lot.
Yeah, that's true. So whatever comes out first, it's kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people write choruses first. But I've noticed that you tend to write, you follow the story from like a whatever line, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Aye.
So how does it go with, like, obviously I guess Dana does most of the actual like lyrics, and then Jamie, you being the producer, how does it work when you kind of come to like mix it together?
It's mostly like Jamie will be like making the beat and I'm like on the seat behind.
Usually at the same time.
At the same time. So we're kind of like doing the same thing, and then I'll do like the lyrics and melody, and then it kind of builds together. So like as I get to like maybe like a pre-chorus, like you're adding more to the beat and stuff like that. So it's very much, it's quite weird because it's not normally like we have a finished beat and then I write. It is very much like,
you were saying like not long ago that like, because in the beginning of the lockdown when we couldn't see each other, like I would send her beats, and you were like, I can't really get anything.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like it's better when we're both in the room.
Yeah, 100%. I think like the vibes when we write is like what I need, because I used to like writing on my own, and now that I like writing with people, because I just feel like different ideas, like you can bounce off things. I think when you're on your own, you kind of overthink it too much.
It took us a while to get comfortable, because we've done a couple of things where we've done sessions where people, like, for example, Work Me was a session.
Yeah.
And like in the past with like SoShe, when we've done different writing sessions, it took us a long time to get comfortable. So like to where like we could work with someone else like a lot. Yeah. Like, which is what we did with Andy. So it's like, this seems to be like, it's kind of like it's almost like a product line. It's like, so I'll be like, well, like you said there, we'll be in the same room, we'll be working on something, then we'll have this idea, because I tend not to like to do more than like a day on production, because like it could be shit, and we also never go past the verse in the first chorus either.
Yeah. Ever.
I am allowed to swear on here, aren't I? Yeah, cool. So like we never go past the verse and the chorus, which is why there's a lot of, I've got like a folder full of stuff that's just verses and choruses that we may or may not use. We're like, I like to test it on people, send it to friends, like show people, and like
get like a vibe before we just like write a whole,
trying to be efficient
song.
Basically, because like that would be a waste of time if we then did 3 or 4 days. And so the ones that we actually like, then like usually in this batch of stuff we've been doing, like I'll bring in Andy from Voir, and so like we'll have like a beat, verse, chorus, and be like, we should work on this one. Yeah. Like maybe like elevate the production a little bit, or like change something. Like sometimes we do different melodies and stuff, and like and then as me and Andy are doing that, Dana's then writing a second verse and maybe a middle eight or something. Yeah. And then it's kind of like, that's kind of like wrapped up and then left. And then maybe the next week I'll come back and I'll be like, right, I've got like a thing here that I can produce. Yeah, like properly. And then I'll change drum sounds or whatever, because I like to do it like really quick, if you know what I mean, just to get them out and then think of it later on. So yeah, that's kind of how we work. Yeah.
How often does it kind of cross over in that? How often does Dana kind of pitch in and help on a bit of the production side, and how much does Jamie help in doing the lyrics?
All the time.
All the time.
Every session.
Yeah, like pretty much every single time.
Dana will say like, I think we should stay up here, or keep it upbeat, or like maybe like whatever, like I don't know, like
what
a
the
vibe or whatever.
Should be.
And then I'll be like, oh, like I do this quite often actually, because like I'm not a songwriter, but I feel like one of my strengths is like melody, like listening to melodies. Yeah, like not necessarily making them, but like Dana, like I know Dana and what she can do, and I'm like, do this. Yeah. And then she'll do what I said, but in her own way. Yeah. And then it's just like it works really well.
It does cross over like pretty much
every single
all the time. Yeah.
You've got one more song coming out. Is it technically this year, or does it count as next year?
No, it'll be out on the 30th, so New Year's Eve.
What's that about? Is it 100 Roses?
It's very upbeat, that one. It's quite weird, because it's kind of like a female empowerment one. So it's kind of like a bad story, but it's like, I don't need you anymore, that sort of thing. But it's I don't know whether this one might be my favorite. Every time a new song comes out, I'm like, that's my favorite one. But
it seems to be it's people that we know's favorite.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people's favorite.
Probably why we left it the last.
Yeah. But it's very like upbeat, very like pop, isn't it?
But it's got like a kind of like a. I've noticed like Nathan Dawes started doing like, he's doing like the upbeat stuff, but then he's starting to bring in some like trap. He always does like maybe second verse or a middle eight. That's like different beat to trap, but then it kind of goes back to the dancey stuff. And like we did that because 100 Roses is one of the oldest songs we've got. Yeah. And we did that like 2 years ago. We always had that like trap middle eight part. We always thought we were going to do a feature on it, like at a rapper or something, which is just, it's a bit like kind of cliche. So like Dana did something on it like only last week.
Yeah, literally.
So like I don't know if you were at the gig that we did where we tried it out, and Dana, we used that bit of the 100 Roses just to say like, oh, thanks for coming, because we didn't have anything in that bit. Yeah. Like
fill the gap.
So, but it was just to test it out and see how it went.
Yeah.
But like we've eventually like 2 years later wrote a middle eight for it.
Yeah.
So, and I just got the first mix back last night actually.
And you're working kind of towards releasing an EP? Is it all going to be the singles that you've already released, or is there anything like kind of new going to be on there?
So I don't know if we're working towards an EP. It was more of it was like we want to. It's really difficult to explain, actually. Like this whole us coming out and doing Badmind thing, we didn't really know who we were. We still don't really like. We're still not 100% on our aesthetic, on where like how we're gonna look, how everything's gonna be thingy. So that's why we did the colors thing with all this, with the 7 singles. Like we had every song have its own color scheme, and then obviously the Instagram photos have got that filter over. And that is one, because I thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
2, because we weren't 100% sure on what branding and how we're going to do it. So it's a very easy way of kind of like
starting
getting through the year.
Yeah.
And what I want in 3, it was because every song, if you look at the 7, it was the 7 colors of the rainbow, and it was kind of like, you know, the all-inclusive kind of vibe as well. So it's like, and because every song's like different.
Every song's different, but it comes together.
And it comes together. So it kind of all ties together that way.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do was at the end of the year, so like, in January, is package it together. I need to look in to see if I can actually, the singles that I've released, if I can repackage them as an EP through a distributor. If not, I can put them out again as what was going to be like the Colours EP. But and then do maybe like a one-off, like a limited batch of vinyl or something. But it was just a way of like tying it together and being like, so this was us working out who we were this year, and then 2021 is just going to be fucking singles after singles.
Yeah, so
I don't know if we'll do EPs next year.
Yeah.
So
the Colours thing kind of is wrapped up in this year, and then it's like left, sort of thing. I mean, we're obviously going to play them live. The songs aren't left, but
because no one's really heard them yet.
Yeah. But yeah.
How hard has that been for kind of your debut year, where most kind of artists would start kind of testing out all their material on live audiences, but you essentially haven't had that apart from like the odd 1 or 2 gigs, and then went back into lockdown straight after? How hard's that been?
Yeah, it's been difficult. Like we really haven't been able to do anything like what we thought we were going to be doing. We have released, like we stayed on track to release everything. Obviously everything was already ready to release, sort of thing. So that's good that we did all the prep to actually release the tracks. But in terms of gigs, it's like, it's crazy. Like I really thought when this first happened that by the end of the year it would be back to normal and we would be able to like just do loads of gigs. But then hopefully next year we'll be able to. If
nothing else though, we do love a little challenge. Like I hate the word no. I can't deal with it. I'm like you be like, oh, I can't do that. Or, I'm like, oh, well, we can. Yeah. We just don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
So like, it's like, the world's through with this kind of thing, and everyone else this thing. So it's like, well, let's see how the people who adapt will get through, I guess. And
yeah, and at least we got to do a couple of gigs,
and we were rehearsed a lot. So like, in a way, it's not a blessing, but in a way, it's like we've treated it as a blessing because we've been able to prepare. Like we've been rehearsing all the time. Like we started rehearsals like I think it was like the week or so before them gigs, because we kind of got them like not last minute, but like it wasn't like we weren't even sure if we were going to do them.
Yeah, because of the lockdown.
But I was like, again, like what you were saying, like oh, should we do them gigs? We're not really ready, but it's like I know we're not, but there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, true.
Like we'll try them out and see what happens. Like I don't mind failing, as long as we learn something from it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So and we haven't actually really failed much of this year. We've hit all the goals that we wanted to hit.
Yeah.
Like we're streaming numbers and getting the songs out, and like I kind of even though it's been shit, our class is a successful year.
Yeah.
How nice was it to get booked for those few gigs? Because I guess in this year, there's obviously like millions of bands in the world, and with being a new act, you would think that maybe as promoters wouldn't necessarily know who you are too much. There's not that much of a buzz around you as such. So how nice was it to get kind of booked for gigs?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I know the guy who booked you on the second gig, the gig you were
Time
at.
Bank. Yeah.
Yeah, I know him from like way back in the day.
I know him.
And he said he's always I remember when he asked us to do it, he's like, I've always wanted to get you on.
Yeah.
And I was like, let us think about it, because I don't know if we're ready.
Yeah.
And then we did it. But like, we did the one the week before as well at the Hoochie Coochie. And that was kind of through meeting April and them. I don't know if you know them.
Not personally, but I know about them.
Phenomenal musicians.
Yeah,
like
amazing.
we did a live stream with them the other night. So there's like April, Jimmy, Stu, and David. And they're just like they're just like, you probably, because you and however many people are at them gigs are probably the only people that are going to see you in that way,
that form,
in that format, because we're not like, especially since playing with these musicians, like we're going to bring in musicians. So it's like the way we do stuff. Like if we're going to be doing band gigs as like, if I'm going to be playing drums, we're going to have a band, and if not, we're working out another way, like for smaller gigs, where it doesn't make sense to bring a drum kit and have it like really loud and trying to fight with the PA. So I'm going to work out some maybe like electronic drum stuff or DJing, just a different, like kind of the way you would see like rappers. You know what I mean? So we're going to have essentially 2 sets, but like I don't think we're going to just have it drums and vocals with backing track, because you never really. I don't know if you've ever played music or anything on stage, but it's like it's such a weird sound on stage to not hear other things next to you, like a bass amp or a guitar amp or something.
Anything else?
And based on how that live stream went, and like playing with players
it's completely changed where. Yeah, like
of that caliber, it's like I'm not going back to just playing.
No, it's kind of ruined it to play with them.
But again, like, you know, I was saying we'll learn. It's like definitely, like at least recognize that it's like that's going to be the strongest way to present what we do. So yeah.
Obviously, I kind of first heard you when you were part of SoShe, and that was kind of similar enough that the sound was still kind of, it was a natural progression, I guess, anyway. What was the kind of transition for you? Like, why did it happen? And then kind of, how did it first kind of start out being Badmind?
You want to go on?
Oh God, have I asked a controversial question?
No, I mean, I still see Alex all the time. Like I speak to Alex all the time and stuff. Like it was just like, it was like a difference of want, if you know what I mean. Like we want to do this really bad, and it's the first thing I think about when I wake up, last thing I think about when I go to sleep. The same with Dana. But I just didn't feel like it was Alex's like full thing. Yeah. If you know what I mean, like full priority. And like it wasn't like a
bad ending.
It was very amicable, and it was just like we just had a kind of meeting,
and everyone was on the same page, so it wasn't like anything bad like
we're
that.
Just like, I don't think you want to do this as much as us, and I don't think you're prepared to do the things that are necessary. Like it's hard, man. It's like it's difficult. You got like, I just didn't think that you wanted, and you agreed as well. So it was like, the best thing to do is just, because when you're in a band, you kind of, it's more than just like, oh, bandmates. It's kind of more than like siblings almost. There's like this weird like connection that you all have that you like. It can get nasty if you let it go a certain way. Yeah. Especially between guys. Maybe not so much me and Dana, but like especially between guys where like I'm like I don't want to lose my temper with a friend. Yeah. Over something. Do you know what I mean? So like, and obviously I love Alex, and he's a ridiculous musician. He's been in on a couple of little things we've done as well. And that's kind of how that ended, and because it ended that way, like it was just like we just stopped. Like we just felt like maybe starting it up again is a bit weird. Yeah. It's kind of like fixing a broken car. Yeah,
we thought it was just for the best to just have a clean slate.
Also take 2 years off as well. We took 2 years off, so like of being part of anything. We just did things in the house and didn't have a page up, didn't have anything, weren't releasing. So just taking time to find exactly what it is, because I always felt in SoShe, like with having a guitarist, we were doing things like to like around having a guitarist. Yeah. Like, so I was like, oh, well, this song's going to need guitar.
Like everything had to have that. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because every song has drums, every song has a vocal, pretty much. But like every song doesn't need a guitar. So it was that kind of freedom that we enjoyed and like kind of use now with Badmind.
Yeah.
It's amazing because I just like think back to whatever year that was when there was like a string of Friday nights where you were at Head of Steam every week.
We did a hell of a lot of gigs, didn't we?
That was because we were working with Steve Davis. And like a great thing with that was like two things basically helped with it. Was like, one, it helped her with like constantly gigging and getting better live, and two, realizing that, you know, like we're audience. Like, oh, we shouldn't be playing these gigs with these rock people.
Yeah.
Because we're playing with indie band. Like, you've seen one, quite a lot of them. Like, you're supporting this pop punk band, you're supporting this rock band, this indie band. The only one that I think we did that was very close to, even like came close to what we did was the Akala.
Yeah, that was a fun
and possibly the, what was that other one where everyone kicked off with because we got the support slot? At the Academy?
Devlin. Yeah, everybody hated with that week.
I was like, I just got asked to do it. We didn't. So I remember. Do you remember that was like on Facebook? It was like, massive, why are they supporting? I was like, I don't know. I just got asked to do it.
Sorry.
But what I did,
I don't remember any kind of backlash or anything from it.
It was a massive like comment thread on. I was like, Jesus! Like,
loads of people commenting saying, "Why should we be doing it? It's not suited."
It was basically the local rap scene was like kicking off about it, and I was like, I went on it, and I was like, look, I don't know anything about this. We just got asked to do it, but what I can do is anyone that wants to come, I can give you free tickets. That's the only thing I can do. And then loads of them came.
Yeah.
And they came over to it, and so they actually came and watched it, and they're like, "Oh, I really enjoyed it," and this, that, and the other. So, yeah.
The main thing I remember from SoShe gigs was being blinded by that horrible sight that you had.
Yes.
We've still got that.
I still got it. It might make a little comeback.
I really hope not.
Lee, do you know what it is?
What?
It's a ceiling light from like an industrial estate, like an office building. It's one of them. It's supposed to go down.
It's like a bat light. That's what it is. It's the bat signal.
I love it, mate.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean, it's cool. It makes it stand out, but it just always blinds.
That's funny.
Good times.
I know.
So how hard has it been? You mentioned there kind of with the Devlin gig, the Akala gig being the closest you've got to like having gigs that were like fitting with your sounds. But even then,
it's not very.
No.
How hard is it having like being in a place where it doesn't really have that kind of R&B scene really at all? Like,
pretty difficult.
Yeah.
We were saying that like next year it's pointless being here. Pretty much. What's the point?
Not now.
Woo! Someone's at the door.
Oh my god.
No, yeah, like it is difficult. We were saying like it's kind of point. Like obviously we'll do like Newcastle shows and stuff, but like
it's more just like, especially support wise, like a lot of people don't come here, and there's not a scene here really for it. So it would make sense to at least support people, Manchester, London, that type of thing, just so we can play in front of people who like it. Because I think we did a lot of gigs where people afterwards would be like, "Oh, that was really good," but if we did it in front of people that it was their thing, they'd hop on. Do you know what I mean? So it's like we have to really play to those people, and like those people need to hear it, sort of thing, if we're gonna do it properly.
I've always said that we needed to pay our way, which was doing because I've been a musician for like pretty much all my adult, like teenage and adult life. Like I've done the shitty gigs, the fucking sleeping in the cars, this, that, and the other, but you hadn't.
Yeah.
And one of the first things I said to you was, I was like, we need to go through as a band, as like two people working together, and as a singer, you need to go through people going, boo.
Yeah.
And whatever else. You know what I mean? Like you have to. Like it builds you. Like you see so many people that don't have live experience, and like it shows. Do you know what I mean? Like there's literally nothing you could throw at us now that wouldn't be. Like it's kind of like the Conor McGregor theory, where he's like he thrives in uncomfortable positions. If we can thrive when we're uncomfortable, then you can't beat.
Nothing can. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like that was very important for me anyway to thingy to you.
Yeah.
To do that. We used to do back in the day. We used to do like a lot for money. We used to do cover gigs at some of the worst places you could ever imagine. So playing to a couple of rappers who don't like you doesn't make a difference to us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
We've been in like weird situations.
We've been in racist bars with a mixed race singer.
Yeah.
Like just some horrible situations. That guy who started on you because you wouldn't give him your number.
Yeah.
Literally started on. I grabbed the thing. I was like, "Who you fucking?"
Yeah. So now I'll be fine. I can handle anything now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's horrible that you have to go through that though. Like what in what other job in the world does that happen? Like where
a lot of jobs where you're not taken seriously, you're not. When you first come in, you're not like. I'm sure you're working your way up as well. You know what I mean?
I had to deal with anybody on that level.
Oh no, of course not. Yeah.
Nobody's ever asked me to do that, but
I would assume everyone's not mortal when you go to work.
no.
Most places that we were playing, everyone was already drunk and we turned up.
Yeah.
So they're like, can I carry a thing for you?
Yeah.
The guy who just randomly tried to steal a speaker once.
Yeah.
Like, so like that's what, but like going through that, like it's obviously not nice, but like going through that, you're like when you're doing gigs to other people's crowds as support acts and stuff.
Yeah,
you're
it doesn't
not bothered.
seem that bad. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so.
So, but yeah, good times.
I don't know if it's good times, but yeah.
It'll make an interesting book one day.
Yeah, one day.
Is that the plan?
Probably, aye. Anything to get money. Right, that's $17.99.
Well, you have kind of recently started doing podcasting. How did that start?
It was mostly like just like something to do when we can't go and meet people and can't really do anything social. And it was a kind of like a good way for people to hear what we're like personality wise, because I think a lot of the time it's quite hard to show that. Just like you're not going to get that from like a photo on Instagram. So I think it is a good way of like people seeing like what we're like, and that we don't really like take ourselves too seriously. Like
we take our music seriously, just
take our music seriously, but like we can have a laugh. And like I think that was mainly the reason why we started it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just because we're not the kind of people, like, we're trying to get better. I don't know if you've noticed. We're trying to get better at posting online.
Right.
And like and interacting with people.
Yeah.
And like,
because we're not
very good at it. So like, you get like you might not get many posts through the week, but you get like an hour-long thing at the end. It's like, do you know what I mean? And it kind of helps us be a little bit more comfortable on camera, talking to people, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said at the gig, we'll just have to watch what we say.
It's not too bad. Just the odd thing. Oh.
But yeah, it's fun. I love doing it.
Yeah.
And like we've skipped weeks and stuff because we're kind of.
It's hard as well with lockdowns and stuff like that, and you don't really know.
Like we don't really know what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing next week.
No.
Like so, you just roll with it.
Just
like we do work every week, but like we don't know what we're going to be doing on what day. So it's like we'll do them as and when we kind of can and have something to say, and because you don't want to just go on and just babble.
Yeah, just talk about
you know what I mean. Like we'll be like, oh, we've got this new tune coming up, or we've got like something that we're excited about. Do you know what I mean? And we'll go on and just do it. It's literally it's so unnatural for what to do. Like I don't know what you're like. You know how you're starting your kind of videos and all that kind of thing again. Like for us, it's very unnatural and uncomfortable. But like we're getting better at it. I think
we're trying.
I hate it being filmed, but I love talking to artists, so it's like nice. So
yeah, aye. Like you've done a lot of like stuff now. How long have you been with BBC now?
2 years.
Yeah. What are you gonna be there for long, or are you thinking about doing something else, or?
Christine, I am shooketh.
I'm gonna edit all that out, by the way. But sweet.
Oh, yeah? Wait, so wait there.
It's interesting to me how you have kind of done everything kind of very much DIY. Everything from kind of the music that you do to music videos where you're shooting them yourselves to doing the podcast. From what I gather, you edit all that yourselves and produce it yourselves, everything like that. But you have had experience in the past with kind of labels and kind of management deal sort of things going on. Has that put you off from doing management sort of things again?
No. I think
we just wanted to wait.
Yeah, I think we wanted to be in like a position where we're like, this is what we want to do. This is who we are. These are our songs. But like, yeah, we're not put off from it like at all.
A lot of it's down to pennies that we don't have. So it's
Yeah,
like
the
we don't
DIY
actually
thing.
have a choice. Like
Yeah.
I can't be paying someone £1,000 to do a video. You know what I mean? Like we just can't, especially with lockdown.
Plus, we kind of wanted it to be like that, like the DIY look, because I feel like when you like a new artist, you're like, oh, I was there when the videos looked like that. You know what I mean? And then I think it's quite weird sometimes for like brand new artists to have like the
Really high,
most amazing videos, because it's like we wanted to do a kind of like, yeah, like we're new, like we don't have the money to do this, we can't look like that, we can't, so it's like, it's kind of like, and then when we do have that, like you can see like the progression and
it's
where
like
we came from, and
it's like going back to watch old Drake videos.
Yeah, and
it's like Drake videos now, like from like back then, and he's in like a Michael Jordan court,
yeah,
or whatever.
It's like
didn't happen.
Yeah, I like that. I always wanted it to be kind of like it looks DIY because it is DIY, and then you can see the progression of it.
You know what it did do though? It really give us like an appreciation for like, because I think people overlook say cinematographers, or editors, photographers, like
all the stuff that
like I didn't want to be like we've spoke to a couple of videographers for things in the future, but like I don't want to go to a photographer who's put as much time and effort in as I have to music to be like, oh, will you do this for a tenner?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But like there is a guy who has helped us out a lot actually with like advice and stuff. What's it? Ollie Rillans. Like I can message him and he'll be like, oh, you should do this, or like I'm like, what do you think of this? And he's like, yeah, that's good, but maybe this bit, change this bit.
Yeah.
So like I kind of have a cinematographer that I know who's giving his advice.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and then you're doing it.
And then I'm doing it, but I'm learning as well. But like, it does give you a new respect for like people, like creative people.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. I just love learning new stuff anyway. I'm like, I don't know it right now, but give us a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we were talking the other day. Like I was like, I've been listening to a little bit more like drill stuff, and it's not usually my type of music, but I love the beats. And I was like, I just don't know if I could. Like do that.
Do it.
I was like, wait, give us till tomorrow.
Yeah, I was like, I'll see you tomorrow when you've done 5 drill beats.
And then I sent her some stuff on the night time because like, woo! I don't know if we'll put out that stuff, but like, you know.
I couldn't wait to hear Dana rapping about jumping out the pole and all that.
Yeah, and all that ops in there.
The thing goes.
But I love the beats, man. I love the beats. The beats are mint.
Yeah, it is the future wave, isn't it?
Yeah, and things are just tempos. The beats are just like great. Like you got like around 100, 105. A lot of songs like that. They're like around 70, 80. So it's like I know R&B songs that are 70, 80. We can do R&B stuff over drill beats.
Yeah.
If we wanted to, you know
See
what I mean?
what happens.
How much do you kind of try to experiment with like different sounds now? Because obviously I think it was the last
all the time
before, where you were kind of previewing kind of tracks that you did like years ago, and obviously they weren't necessarily up to scratch, I would try to say. But do you still kind of do that? Do you still try to like get some like other influences in?
Yeah, 100%. We do have a lot of different vibes, and we're willing to try like pretty much everything.
Again, that willing to fail and
learn. Like even if we don't use the song, like we know what we can do over it, sort of thing. Like we just try different things all the time. Like I think even the songs we've put out are all a different vibe. Well,
tell you what shows with that is, say we were to just keep doing Work Me, but a different version of it every time. Like we almost didn't put Heartless out.
Yeah.
Because we thought it was too different.
Well,
I don't know about that. Like,
yeah.
And that was one that was just on a hard drive, and we had this tune that we did, and we're like, do we put that out?
Yeah.
I don't know who it was that told us to do it. I think it might have been like maybe Mark or something.
All right.
Someone told us they were like, no, you should definitely put Heartless out.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, we'll put it in the middle so that if people don't like it, it kind of just gets skipped over. So, and then obviously you guys really liked it.
Yeah, like Heartless is like without a doubt my favorite Badmind tune.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That
what is it about it, by the way? Because I might take notes and
I don't even really know. I think it's like, I remember there was one day where it was like when I was in my old flat and I was walking along the quayside and I literally had 2 songs on repeat, and it was Zella Sleep Real Bad, which is a proper like kind of similar kind of upbeat pop or sort of vibe, but more on the pop side. I think that might be it, just the more kind of, I think it's the beat in the chorus as well, like the drums in the chorus that like proper hit a spot.
Yeah, it's almost like funk.
Yeah.
It was that song went through a couple of different stages, and it was originally influenced by like a Charlie Puth vibe. What's that song? Attention.
Yeah.
You just want to just kind of change the bass line a bit, and so. But we wanted, like, I remember the intro, you know, I don't listen to our lyrics, by the way.
Yeah, he doesn't know any of the
lyrics. That bit was like, it originally didn't have chords. It was just an 808. It was like, doom, 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 doom. It was like really like trappy. And then Andy was like, "Nah, we need to do some chords there." It
needs to be like nice. Then.
And then it kind of, that was a cool one because we had that tune, and then you know where we're like, we'll do something, then we'll take it in Andy. But just so happened that Andy had Joe with him from Sam Fender's band, and Joe, the guitarist from his band, and Joe did the session with us. So that's Joe. And like, I think he did something maybe on like a synth as well.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And that was like literally an experiment. It was like, we'll see if it works.
See what happens.
It just turned out like it was banging. Like, I always thought it was good. I just didn't think people would like it.
Yeah, same.
Do you know what I mean?
That blows my mind because, like, yeah, just because of how much I do love that song.
It's always the one you don't think, though, isn't it?
If you like the pop stuff, you'll probably like 100 Roses then when it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I've liked it live. I think it's probably in my top 3 songs live, along with Addicted. To be fair, I think Heartless, Addicted, 100 Roses for me.
Yeah.
Addicted is so different, man. Like,
yeah, I love Addicted.
That was another one that's it's a risk.
Mm-hmm.
We actually got like someone messaged with on. I got like a Gmail email last night, like it was like 4 a.m. and it was like this really long message about how much they liked Addicted.
Yeah.
And they're like, "I'm going to put it in this playlist."
I was reading that this morning, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
And she was like, She was like, "I was really shocked with the muted trumpet that came in."
Yeah.
And like, I was just like, "Wow!" And that, like, because it's mad when people tell you the things that you thought before you did it. If you know what I mean? Because like, that's why I said I was listening to like Sting tunes, and he uses like a trumpet player sometime, and I was like, guys,
yeah, guys, listen.
I was like, instead of doing another guitar solo, how about we do like a jazz?
Yeah.
And they were like,
and it's perfect.
But like, I don't know if you, but I know definitely Andy was like,
oh no, I was like, yeah, let's do it, yeah. I was like, who can play the trumpet?
No, it was David who. That's how we kind of started getting in touch with them.
Yeah.
But yeah. And like, I just love that because they were like, "Oh, it was a massive surprise." And I was like, "That's the point."
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with that.
Different.
And I think it's the most mature piece of music we've done musically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As much as I said before, and you kind of agreed that a lot of what you're doing is very DIY. There does seem to be a small team around you that's kind of grown as well. But it seems to be like central to that is Andy from What. How did that start out?
I worked with him, didn't I?
No, we went in randomly.
Yeah.
We went when he was at what's it called? Y Studio years ago. We like booked a day there
to record some vocals.
To record vocals, and that's just how we met. And then from there, I think we just. Because I don't even know how it's.
Basically, I got a job. I got a job at the studio as an engineer. When Andy stopped being an engineer and went to be a teacher, I got the job as the engineer there. And obviously, I would see him all the time, so would hang out and stuff. And it was like, I think we should try and work together because I really liked Andy's stuff that he was doing on his own. Andy's more like, back in the day, he used to have a band called Humanism, and they did like kind of like ethereal rock, like maybe like he's quite pop punk influence as well, which I think are some of the best choruses ever. Is like pop punk choruses, like they're still like bang today. You know what I mean? And anyways, we started like working with him, and we had like a good 2-month period where all the songs you've heard were wrote upstairs in Dana's house, in the little back room.
Yeah.
And like they were all the initial ideas were put down there, and yeah, like we haven't really seen them much this year because like we're like in lockdown. We're more busy, he's more busy. We will definitely get back together and do some stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love working with Andy. He's mint.
Works well together.
So you should check his stuff out. It's called Voix, like Voix. He does way more pop than we do though. Like because we've always had the urban kind of R&B influence. He's more like very straight up pop,
pure pop.
Yeah, he likes literally listens to like Backstreet Boys and like for like in like harmony based stuff.
Yeah.
So but he's really good.
So what's the plan going forward then? Obviously, 100 Roses comes out New Year's Eve, and then going into 2021, what can people expect?
We have a lot of songs.
Yeah.
In the bank. So yeah, we have a lot of
we've also had like we can't really say anything, but like we've got some really mad opportunities coming up.
Yeah, I'm trying not to say anything.
Just like woo.
Yeah, like out of nowhere kind of stuff, but yeah.
So yeah,
we're gonna in 2021.
Well, there will be loads of music, obviously, and there'll be gigs when we're allowed. But yeah, we've got some mad little opportunities coming in.
Yeah.
So buzzing and benching with that.
Sounds exciting, and I'm very curious to find out what it is.
I'll tell you off here.
Yeah.
Where can people find you online to kind of keep up with it and find out themselves when it's time?
Everything social media wise is at Badmind Music. Apart from Facebook is at Badmind Music UK. And then all of our songs are available on all streaming platforms if you just search Badmind.